So I'm in church and Trisha M. Goins, and I always like to give a word of what, stuck out to me. So today we read Mark 10:46, and the pastor talked about the blind man and how the blind man, went to Jesus, right? But before he even got to Jesus, he had already torn off all of his, his garments that would show that he was a beggar. So when he got to Jesus, it did not look like he was blind, or Jesus couldn't tell he was blind by his look or whatever, but he had the sight, or he believed before he even got to Jesus that Jesus was going to heal him. So the biggest thing that I took from today's service, and what I felt like the preacher really stressed on, is that when you pray for others, what you pray for others, God is going to do for you. The louder you pray for others, the more you help others, the more you assist others in doing what God has told you to do for them, the more God is going to do for you. So the pastor just kept saying that throughout the service, and he was talking about how the blind man was doing things before he even got to Jesus. Some of you have been instructed by God to do things that didn't make sense to the natural mind, but you did it in faith. And it's because of those faith moves, and because you reached out and trusted God, even when you didn't understand his plan, even when you didn't know where help was coming from, you helped that neighbor, that person, that homeless person, or whatever, even though you were hurting. God said because of what you did for others, he's going to make happen for you. So whatever he blesses somebody else with, he's going to give you double because you were a blessing to them. So that's really what I got out of today's service, was faith, trusting God even when you can't see. Because the blind man didn't really know from evidence that Jesus was going to bless him or restore his sight. He just believed. He had sight before he even got to Jesus through his faith, because Jesus said, because of your faith, you are healed. So it's our faith. Everything that we do in faith before we see the results, trusting that he's going to, bless us. So give to others, do for others, help others, and watch what God does for you. And you're not doing it so you can get something back. You're just doing it because God told you to. But what he's saying is, for your obedience, for your obedience, God is going to bless you double. So get ready for the miracles, signs, and wonders that God is releasing in this month of August, because of things that he instructs you to do, and you do it by obedience. Without seeing, you already see by faith. That's what I got today. Have a great day. Till next week. Bye.